What is that thing I'm looking for if it was never lost? What is it that I want to do with my life? Yes, it's very likely we're still asking ourselves this question, even long after graduating from school. What is it that I want to do with my life? Lately, I've been reflecting more than I'd like on different areas of my life where I feel things are going, well, more than well, actually. I feel comfortable. I have a home. It's not my home, it's rented, but it's my place. The place I come back to at night, to a bed I bought myself. I have a professional career and a job. I recently started a relationship. Maybe it's still new, but it makes me happy, and I have a dog. Yes, I'm comfortable. And I think, in a way, I've reached that place I dreamed about as a kid, when I asked myself, what do I want to be when I grow up? The truth is, it's a hard question. I do feel like there's something I haven't reached yet, some kind of calling, a sort of voice telling me I'll become the Dalai Lama or Greta Thunberg, or maybe I'll become Steve Jobs and launch a product that makes me a millionaire, or maybe I'll just keep being me, the guy who works until 5 p.m., then goes home to spend the rest of the day with his girlfriend and his dog. And in the middle of this mental mess, I change the question. It's not what should I do with my life, but rather, what is my purpose in this life? Just asking myself that question feels like standing in a very dark forest, searching for something, except I have no idea what I'm looking for. How can I find something if I don't even know what I'm searching for? After that philosophical summer and a few low motivation days, I came across a Japanese concept called Ikigai. Ikigai literally means a reason for being. It's often summarized in a diagram like the one you see here. I found it beautiful. The idea that your reason for being is the intersection of what you love, what you're good at, what you can get paid for, and what the world needs. And where all of those overlap, that's where you find your purpose. It's a beautiful concept, knowing that your purpose is born from the convergence of answers to these questions. Personally, I've struggled the most with the first one. What do I love? So yes, even though I discovered what Ikigai is, I'm still not sure what my life's purpose is. But I feel like I'm on the right path just by trying to answer these questions. Now it feels like I'm back in that forest, but this time with a flashlight and a guide pointing me toward a path. And someday, not today, not tomorrow, I'll find that reason that adds more color to my days. Because yes, I feel comfortable and confident where I am, but I also feel like I can do more, feel more. And maybe finding my Ikigai is the answer. I sat down with a piece of paper and a pen and started making a list of things I like, from eating desserts to going to the gym to traveling. Later, with more time, I'll move on to the next steps. And maybe in a few days, I'll be able to tell you how far I've come and whether I'm closer to finding that thing called purpose. One of life's great mysteries is that person who seems to attract money effortlessly, while someone else who desperately needs it appears to be the opposite side of the magnet. For many people, the answer is simple: luck. Some people have bad luck, others don't. But do we really want to believe that the outcomes of our lives are decided by chance? If I have to choose between believing in something mystical and unknowable, I think I would rather lean toward Joseph Murphy's explanation, the power of the subconscious mind. This sounds like one of those things my dear friend John, the intense one, would say. But before agreeing with him, I decided to look for a slightly more positive explanation. That's how I came across Joseph Murphy and his book, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. This author believed that beneath your conscious thoughts lies another powerful tool, something a bit like luck, but with far less randomness. So I worked on a summary for you, as I think this is valuable knowledge for everyone. Because unfortunately, finding this luck is not as simple as knocking on a door and expecting it to open. You have to be able to find the door first. The way I like to explain it is to imagine the subconscious as an enormous field, a place where every idea you plant begins to grow. Murphy called this garden the subconscious mind. Your conscious mind is the gardener. Basically you. Your subconscious is this vast, fertile land. As magical as it sounds, this land does not judge. It does not argue. It does not give you any buts. It simply receives and multiplies. And here is where it gets interesting. What do you want to plant? Because if you plant fear, it grows fear. If you plant possibility, it grows possibility. Your conscious mind, the gardener, is responsible for helping this garden flourish. The land, your subconscious, will grow a cedar if you plant those seeds. The cedar that will give you wood to build ships, to build tree houses. Or you can plant another type of seed that will grow weeds. And you know what you can do with weed. The gardener is the designer. He holds the magic wand. He decides what grows and where. If the gardener uses this extremely fertile land to plant only, "I can't," "I'm not ready," "this won't work," then those are the only flowers that will bloom. The garden simply grows whatever the gardener plants. So if you can choose, why plant can'ts and impossibles when you could cultivate "I am capable," "I am moving forward"? Then the garden begins to transform into a vibrant, thriving place. But once you plant something in the garden of your subconscious, you must believe that you will see it grow. This experience reminded me of something Murphy emphasized. Your subconscious does not respond strongly to logic. It responds to emotion, repetition, and imagery. Murphy explains that your inner mind speaks the language of images, and this is where visualization becomes powerful. There is a simple exercise that has become very popular: vision boards. I challenge you to take one day this month to create one. What do you want for the months ahead? A vision board is not decoration. It is a message to your deeper mind. Remember, your subconscious doesn't have a door standing open waiting for you. It speaks a different language, and images and emotions are easy for it to understand. But Murphy also warned about something important. The subconscious cannot distinguish between a real danger and a rehearsed one. So when you repeatedly think, "I'm going to fail," something bad will happen. "I'm not good enough." You are not just worrying. You are planting those ideas in your garden. You are planting seeds. And because the subconscious seeks consistency, it will guide your behavior in ways that make those fears feel real. Not because you deserve it, but because you repeated it over and over, sometimes even imagining the emotions that come with it. So how do you control this? Controlling negative thoughts doesn't mean suppressing emotion. It means refusing to give destructive ideas permanent residence in your mind. It can be as simple as noticing them, becoming aware that your thoughts have drifted toward the negative, and gently changing direction. That's how you replace "I can't do this" with "I am learning how to do this." These small shifts, repeated daily, become instructions for your subconscious. Murphy's core message is simple but profound. Your subconscious mind is always listening, always looking, always recording, always building your reality from the inside out. So the real question is not, is it working? It is always working. The question is, what are you feeding it? Fear or faith? Scarcity or possibility? Old stories or new ones? Speak to your mind as if it matters. Feel your thought, as strange as that may sound. Imagine as if your future is already unfolding. Choose the words you feed it. Choose the seeds you plant, because they will become your garden and your future. What is failure? According to the Oxford Dictionary, failure is a lack of success, the inability to meet an expectation, goal, or standard. Just hearing the word failure already feels negative. But here's the real question. Is failure actually a bad thing in our lives? A few years ago, I was heading into a job that was demanding and honestly unpleasant. I had just moved out of my parents' place. I was living on my own for the first time, but I still hadn't found a job that matched my professional career. Yeah, maybe it was a strange decision to move out of my parents' place without a stable job, but I just really wanted to live on my own. Even so, bills don't wait. So I took a job at a restaurant. And I can say this without hesitation. It was one of the most toxic work environments I've ever been in. Every stressful moment of the day, and there were a lot of them, just fed my frustration. I wasn't doing what I had trained for, what I had burned my brain studying. And at the end of every shift, when I wanted to keep applying for jobs that actually aligned with my career, I had nothing left. No energy, no motivation. I would walk into my bedroom and fall straight into bed, exhausted from a day full of heavy emotions and heavy work, and no job applications. And that just made the frustration grow. Some days I honestly wondered, is there anything productive about this experience? Is there any upside to working in a restaurant? Or was I simply stuck? Exhaustion became another wall, another reason not to change. Then came my first real job interview. Well, not my first interview ever, but my first over the phone call and the first one actually related to my career. In contrast, that week had been chaos. Long shifts, French fries everywhere, insults in languages I don't even speak. So, there I was, riding the bus home, already discouraged, when my phone rang. The second I heard a name followed by from the Human Resources Department, my body went stiff. It was one of the companies I had applied to. My heart started racing, and once I started to speak, stuttering, disconnected ideas, awkward pauses, and after what felt like an eternal 5 minutes, the call ended. A complete failure. I got home that day convinced this was it. That I was destined to live with terrible schedules, a salary I hated, no weekends, and shawarmas for the rest of my life. That interview on the bus stayed with me. Not for the reasons you might think. Not because of the negative feelings it left behind. Here's the thing. The disappointment only lasted one day. The next day, something clicked. I realized job interviews don't come at convenient times. They come when they come. I learned that most interviews ask the same questions. That answers can be practiced. That preparation matters. And yes, I still came home exhausted. Still didn't want to open my computer. But I made a deal with myself. 1 job application per week. That was the goal. A small goal should be easy. And if I wanted to get better at interviews, I needed interviews. I also needed a script that I had to practice. And those interviews became the practice ground for that script. The only way to get to practice my script was getting more interviews. And to get more interviews, I need to apply. Again. And again. Years later, I still remember the joy I had after months of trying and finally getting that job that not only pays the bills but also gives me professional fulfillment. But I also remember that atrocious interview. I remember the disappointment that swallowed me, my mood on the floor, the walk back home that night, defeated, the desire to give up hovering at the edge of my mind. And then, what came after that negative spiral? The spark. That failed interview became the spark. The moment that pushed me to choose a different path. The spark that reignited my motivation to leave that job at the restaurant behind. And that spark didn't just appear by magic. After that bitter taste of failure hit me, I reflected on what had actually happened. That reflection turned into momentum, into that spark. Because if you want something positive to come out of failure, you have to take the time to reflect on it. Now that I think about it, I can't help but realize that even that restaurant job, something I once thought was useless for my career, ended up teaching me something. It gave me character, adaptability, the courage to say no. I realized that I wasn't limited to working only in what I had studied, but that when necessity knocked on my door, I was willing to go further, that I would keep moving forward. And by persevering, I managed to move up in a small restaurant. I started as a line cook, and before quitting, I was already working as a supervisor. So maybe failure isn't the enemy. Maybe, at the end of the day, is not a bad experience. It's painful. It's frustrating. But what comes after depends on you. Will you keep doing the same thing that led you there? Or will failure light the fire to move forward?